According to new research, about 1 in 10 Canadians believe Neil Armstrong's famous step down was actually a giant leap in deception. Add to that the more recent belief that COVID was developed as a bioweapon, and its sister falsehood that governments are covering up dangers about the vaccine. About a third of Canadians appear to believe in both of those things.
Since the advent of COVID, we saw a tremendous leap in the belief in conspiracy theories.
Steve Mossop's latest Leger poll turned up staggering levels of belief in things that either aren't supported by evidence or are just plain wrong. Take the assassination of President Kennedy, the classic rock of conspiracy theories. Leger found 36% of Canadians believe it was a cover-up. Similar for the death of Princess Diana. 34% told Leger they have it on good authority that Diana's death was not accidental.
You are fake news.
Sir,
go ahead.
And since you're watching this on the news, you ought to know that a whopping 55% of Canadians now believe the mainstream media manipulates the information it puts out.
With COVID and with President Trump calling fake news, there's been this erosion of trust, the perception of media, not only in our country, but in the USA as well.
So what's driving the tendency to believe in chemtrails or a flat Earth, especially in an age when it's never been easier to get information? Mossop suspects the single biggest driver is the way social media algorithms work to reinforce what you know, or what you think you know.
Every time you turn on your phone and look at something for fun, it's reinforcing what you currently believe and takes it even further.
In Vancouver, Paul Johnson, Global News.
This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth, and I would like to start this video off by conducting a brief poll by asking you, the viewers, one simple question when it comes to your government. And that question is, do you trust that your government has your best interest at heart? Please comment in the comment section below with either yes, they are working in my best interest, or no, in general, they are corrupt and should not be trusted. Go ahead and pause this video, fill out your answers in the comment section, and then hit play again. Did you do it yet? Here, I'll give you another chance. Done? Good. Now, when you're done watching this video, hit that refresh button, and I think you'll see that the majority of Press for Truth viewers have a very healthy distrust of their government, and rightly so. But this certainly wasn't always the case. Many years ago, I was laughed at and called a conspiracy theorist simply for pointing out some of the things that are now considered to be obvious fact. Like, take the case of Jeffrey Epstein, for example. If back in 2018 you were warning people that he was using sex with minors as blackmail against politicians and actors and heads of royalty, you'd be labeled a conspiracy nut job. But if you believe this now, it's okay to talk about it because, yeah, everybody knew that. Or look at the case with mandatory COVID-19 vaccines. If back in February of 2020, you were warning, like I was, that mandatory shots were coming down the pike, you'd be called a crazy conspiracy theorist. But now it's okay to talk about all of this because everyone's like, yeah, they had to do what they had to do. So it seems like a paradigm shift is occurring, where in the last 3 years or so, more and more people are waking up to the corruption within their government. And they're starting to look to alternative sources of information rather than the traditional television to get informed. A recent poll shows that about 80% of Canadians believe in conspiracy theories. 79% of Canadian respondents believed at least one of the conspiracy theories shown to them in a recent poll, compared to 84% of Americans provided with the same list of 15 fictitious or unsubstantiated tales. Commissioned by the Canadian Press, Ledger surveyed 1,529 Canadians and 1,001 Americans across the country between November 24th and 26th, with results weighted to ensure a representative sample of each population. In Canada, 55% of respondents believed mainstream media manipulates information. Well done, everybody. You're getting it. You're starting to see through the propaganda. 36% believed that John F. Kennedy's assassination was a cover-up. 34% of those polled bought into theories that the car crash that killed Princess Diana in 1997 was an assassination, and that scientists have found a cure for cancer, but the government and pharmaceutical companies won't release it. Another 33% believed evidence of alien contact is being hidden from the public, and 32% subscribed to the idea that COVID-19 was created as a biological weapon in a lab. And of course, they lump in alien contact with all of these other things to just try to discredit some of those other truths. But the bottom line is, those numbers are not too bad. But we still have a lot of work to do. The powers that ought not be are not just going to allow their monopolistic oligarchy to just dissolve here. And in fact, they're going to have to counter this problem that they're having right now with fake news and a little thing called propaganda. Well, they've already tried to debunk so-called conspiratorial beliefs using math and statistics by releasing a peer-reviewed paper called On the Viability of Conspiratorial Beliefs. So, in the interest of countering their propaganda, I took the liberty of making a short documentary film completely debunking this scientifically peer-to-peer reviewed paper. My friends, please share this one so we can counter all the propaganda that they can and do use. And if you appreciate my efforts to bring you this information, please take a moment today to financially contribute at pressfortruth.ca/donate. A link is located in the top of the description below. Alright guys, so without further ado, this is my film on the viability of conspiratorial beliefs, debunked. The more people who are involved in a conspiracy, the greater the odds are of that conspiracy getting exposed. That's human nature. That's why clandestine operations are compartmentalized, so no single person or group of people really understand what they're working on. They are pieces of a larger whole which they don't quite comprehend. That's how the Manhattan Project stayed secret for so long, and that's how the elite get away with their operations today. But recently, Dr. David Grimes has published a paper allegedly proving that conspiracy theories don't add up by using math and statistics. The corporate state media picked up on the paper, and every so-called skeptic has been sharing the findings as if it were definite proof. So let's take this apart. The paper is called On the Viability of Conspiratorial Beliefs and was published in the open access peer-reviewed journal PLOS One. This paper may be the best example of why peer-reviewed doesn't equal scientific proof. Ignoring the argument of compartmentalization, the basic premise is that if man-made climate change is false, or if vaccines weren't safe, or that if there was a cancer cure that is purposely covered up because it's not patentable. If those things were true, so many people would have to be in on it that leaks would occur and the conspiracy would be exposed. Here's the problem. One would want to select numerous examples of existing theories of different sizes and durations, and plot them all on a chart. To be truly objective and research-orientated, one would want to have a lot of data points. If you did this, you may even see a pattern between the number of people involved and the months it took before someone exposed the conspiracy. The actual paper, however, only uses 3 examples and extrapolated from that. They were the NSA's PRISM program, the Tuskegee syphilis experiment, and the inaccuracy of many FBI forensic tests. Another problem arises since the number of people involved with these affairs is unknown. Grimes just guesses, putting the number of people involved with the NSA at 30,000. In reality, the PRISM program could have involved just 100 people, or even as little as 10.
The data points Grimes used were completely useless. He didn't use enough examples, and the few he did use were not reliable. What's missing is data on conspiracies that have remained secret. Not to mention, 2 of the 3 conspiracies he picked were before the internet era, omitting a rather major variable. There also weren't any small conspiracies in his paper, just 3 examples of big institutional affairs. All 3 are also based in the United States, with 2 of them in spying agencies where secrecy is a part of their job. From these bad examples, Grimes calculates the likelihood of someone in the conspiracy blabbing about it and exposing the operations. In a given year, Grimes calculates this at about 0.5/10,000%. This is ridiculous. If this minuscule, quantum-sized number was true, we wouldn't have the word gossip in the dictionary. No one would ever spread rumors or talk about people behind their back. There wouldn't be criminal laws and common law offenses regarding conspiracies. This is just one of the problems of equating mathematics with human action. People don't act like numbers in an equation. This is one of the reasons mathematical economics has been such a dismal failure. Real-life examples have already disproven Grimes' paper. The email leak from the University of East Anglia, which exposed fraudulent practices in climate change science, is a perfect example. As well, Grimes did not account for any deaths in his math. Some people naturally die off, taking knowledge of the conspiracy to their grave, or they are killed to keep the conspiracy from becoming exposed. Like Lee Harvey Oswald's murder as he was being taken away by police, telling the TV cameras, "I am just a patsy." The CIA have now admitted they withheld information about the JFK assassination from the Warren Commission. The static population assumption in Grimes' paper shouldn't have been ignored if this was truly a scientific paper on the nature of conspiracy theories. Perhaps the real conspiracy is why this bad paper was hailed as science, while real exposed conspiracies, the ones that become less important to conceal years after they happen, are neglected. This just goes to show that the so-called skeptic community can be just as dogmatic as the rest of us. Nobody is immune to ideology. The key is being able to keep an open mind and revise your beliefs when necessary. There wasn't much of that in this paper. This was just bad science, coupled with confirmation bias. Thanks for watching. Stay vigilant, and as always, my friends, press for truth.